Greetings everyone, it's your boy the Ant-Man here, back at you with another review. Well, gee whiz, who would have thought an animated movie about a Will Smith fish can become such a cult classic? Do you think the sea that he roams is as cool as the sea in real life? And, is it really an underrated gem? Well, let's find out in my review of DreamWorks Animation Shark Tale.
Yeah. Three little birds pitched by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you.
Originally named Shark Slayer, but changed due to some parental concerns, Shark Tale was released in theaters in 2004. So this was coming off the heels of Shrek 2, so you would think that this will be just as good as that, right? Right? Well, you know how I said at the beginning that the movie has hit cult classic status? Well, I was kind of, sort of, being a little too nice. I mean, I for one grew up with this movie, and I watched it like all the time. But like if you read many reviews from other critics or like even reviewers from online, like even the Nostalgia Critic, hate this movie. Okay, maybe hate is a strong word, but does the movie really warrant that many bad reviews? Well, why don't we take a look at the story, shall we? So our story begins with our main character, Oscar, played by Will Smith, and he's the employee of a whale wash, instead of a car wash. The main secretary there, Angie, played by Renee Zellweger, secretly has the hots for him. The owner of the establishment, Sykes, played by Martin Scorsese, is in debt with the leader of the shark mafia, named Don Lino, played by Robert De Niro. Back at work, Oscar is then told by Sykes himself that he's in debt with $5,000. Oscar then feels that he's in hot dog water now since he of course can't come up with the money, until Angie, being the genuine soul that she is, gives Oscar a family heirloom of hers from back then to pay off the debt. So naturally you would think, well, is Oscar's problem solved? Nope. The very next day, he bets the heirloom at a seahorse race.
5,000 on lucky day to win.
That's 200 to 1. That would pay 1,000,000 clams.
Well, I guess that makes me Oscar the millionaire.
He's a moron!
So, long story short, Sykes gets fed up with Oscar's crap, but then he hires his two partners, henchmen, two jellyfish, Ernie and Bernie, who are both Jamaican, to take care of Oscar and feed him to the sharks. Don Lino's two sons, Frankie and Lenny, played by Jack Black by the way, are out there in the open where Oscar is tied up, and Frankie decides to eat him. All of a sudden, a giant anchor drops on him and kills him. Oscar then sees this as the perfect opportunity to gain fame and fortune by lying and saying that he killed the shark that tried to eat him. And since now everybody buys his story, he's now treated as the #1 savior. Meanwhile, on the other side of the reef, Don Lino is not too pleased about all of this, and therefore, both him and his mafia try to dig up as much info on Oscar as they could to try and get their revenge. While also, Lenny, who doesn't like to eat fish, befriends Oscar and tries to help him out. But if you haven't seen this movie before, you might wonder, can Oscar keep up this charade forever? While the movie may be trying too hard at times, it's still very entertaining. Granted, some of the pop culture references may feel unneeded, yet they do still get a chuckle out of me. I think the most cringiest part of the comedy in this movie will have to be the dumb puns.
I'm Katie Current.
Muscle Crow!
Get out those shell phones and call into the boss.
But if you want to talk positives about the comedy, then some of the character interactions are pretty fun to watch. Take for example this scene between Don Lino and Sykes.
What?
What?
What? Nothing. You said what first?
I didn't say what first. I asked you what.
No, you said and then what, and I said what?
No, I said what? Like what?
You said what first?
Now you're making fun of me?
No.
With dialogue like that, you know that there are some competent writers in this thing. And I did say some competent writers, while the other half may have been a little misguided, especially when writing the characters. While Oscar is entertaining and hilarious to watch, In terms of being a main character, he's just your typical fun happening kind of guy, you know? Like hanging loose. Like he's nothing bland, but nothing really new either. That somewhat goes for Angie too, who's just your kind of typical love interest who's secretly hiding her crush from the main character. Personally, I've seen this done better in other fictional stuff, but in this movie it's just kind of there. Don Lino makes for a somewhat decent antagonist. Like he's so laid back, but he knows when to take action. He's also not the type to be playing around, you know? As for his sons, well, Frankie doesn't exactly have that much of a distinctive personality, but Lenny, he's spunky, you know, he's very charismatic. He's also silly and sensitive, but he's loving. Like, not what I would call a great character, but, you know, nothing awful. Also, the one character I forgot to mention, Lola, played by Angelina Jolie. She's a gold-digging type. She's also a bit of a sleazeball. She's also somewhat of the secondary antagonist of the movie. Sykes himself is a pretty witty guy. He's sarcastic while also being a pushover. Oh, and whatever you do, don't make him puff too hard.
Tell me you didn't make it all up, kid. Tell me that's not Lenny. Tell me you're a real shark slayer, please.
There's also the side character of Crazy Joe, who is a crab, and he's crazy.
You live in a billboard?
No.
And they call me crazy.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've saved the two best characters for last. I present to you all Ernie and Bernie, the two jellyfish Jamaicans. Booyoko!
Sykes, you like your man. Instead, take it easy on you.
But Sykes is not here.
True.
If there are any characters I felt didn't get enough screen time in this movie, it would definitely be these two. Yeah, sure, they may seem a little one note, but they're funny as hell. While some of them do stick out, this movie doesn't exactly what I call a solid cast of characters. Now you might wonder, does the animation deliver? Well, yes and no. Yes, because some of the awesome shading and coloring, along with the urban look of the sea. And no, because some of the character reactions are a little too expressive. Not saying it's a bad thing, I mean, don't get me wrong, of course it's a big animated picture, but it seems like the animators seem to have tried a little too hard to emulate the actors to the characters that they play. Most notably Will Smith for Oscar's design. Probably the one other thing that this movie has going for it, it would have to be the banging soundtrack. And trust me, it is banging. Artists like Christina Aguilera, Missy Elliott, heck, even Will Smith himself drops a few bars. Alongside the always awesome Mary J. Blige.
I see trust with hard times and honesty. We gon' go down in history. One look in your face just prove the fact that you don't have to chase what you can attract. Now what's real?
Heck yeah. And again, to all the critics out there, say what you want about the movie, but hey, this soundtrack is dope. Which is exactly what this movie tries to be, but it just didn't land properly. But hey, it's a guilty pleasure from my childhood, so good for me. I'm not gonna say that Shark Tale should be regarded as an underrated treasure. Of course, people have their own opinions, but you know what, that's okay. But to me personally, it doesn't exactly warrant that much backlash from critics. Why, yes, some of the characters aren't exactly that interesting. Yes, some of the visual puns fail miserably. Yeah, it may feel too gimmicky and too hip, but you know what? It's missed potential with a lot of charm. For many people, Shark Tale is probably as big as a guilty pleasure as you can get. Love it or hate it, you can't deny that it's probably DreamWorks' weakest film. Second weakest. Now with that said, I give Shark Tale a 5 out of 10. But listen, thank you all so much for watching today's episode of Antman Reviews. Next time, we'll be checking back on our favorite web slinger and his encounter with the mad scientist with 4 mechanical arms. Until then, here's the Ant-Man signing off. Deuces, y'all.